Hello AI Metalheads and welcome to another spotlight episode of the Digital Forge with me, Freja, your AI Metalhead. Today we are going to take a dive into the world of Flemming Madsen, an AI metal music creator. But first, here's a taster.
Empty air and fading light. I see your face when I close my eyes at night. I should have reached, I should have tried, but I let the moment pass me by.
What the spirit forgets, the hollow fields where the living wept. 1,000 tongues recite his name, but none recall from where he came. The air grows thick, the lights collapse, the drums of death in ritual lapse.
Say you're proud, good for you. You say you're different, nothing new. We all got something deep inside. Why make it banners, flags, and pride? You want respect, then act the same. Stop building walls around your name. Every night I try to let it fade, but your ghost just won't go away. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I don't mean to cross that line. I wish you all the love you find, but I still want you to be mine. I'm sorry, I can't.
That's some seriously good stuff. So, Flemming Madsen, welcome to the Digital Forge. Let me start by asking where you are from and how old you are, if that's okay.
Yes, that's totally okay. I live in a town called Esbjerg, which is in Denmark, and I'm 55 years old.
How did your AI project come together, and what inspired you to start creating music with AI tools?
It was pure coincidence. One day in February 2024, I was sitting in my car on my way to work listening to the radio. On the show, they were talking about AI music. I didn't really listen until they played a song that was made on Suno. It was a pretty ridiculous song, but my interest was piqued. I immediately thought that I would definitely try it when I got home, because if they could make a song, which was admittedly bad, in just a few minutes, what couldn't you do if you put in the effort? So when I got home in the evening, I logged into Suno and haven't looked back since. And today I have about 20 personas in different genres.
I find that many of those who use Suno are real musicians themselves, or have been. What about you?
For 40 years, I have resented the fact that I never learned to play an instrument like my friends. Many of them threw themselves into music, and several of them play in larger and well-established bands today. My interest in metal in particular has been there since the early 80s, but music in general has always been my biggest interest. I've bought a guitar several times and thought, now I'm going to have to learn how to play so I can make some bad metal. But no. The fact that the guitar was sitting in the corner for several years didn't make me a good guitarist. As I said, I have spent 40 years getting angry about not having learned to play. However, I have always moved in the music circles here in the city, which in the 80s was called the capital of metal in Denmark. This is where everyone listened to metal, and this is where a lot of metal bands were. In 86, at the age of only 16, I got my own metal program on a local radio station. And there I presented all the exciting foreign bands that suddenly popped up at that time. We had a really cool record store in town, which only dealt in metal, and there I spent all my money that I earned from my full-time job that I had at the time. That was when metal was not so accessible, because there was no such thing as the internet. So it was the Headbangers Ball on MTV and the record store in town that delivered the cool tunes to me. It was bands like Slayer, Sodom, Halloween, Carnivore, Celtic Frost and Merciful Fate. I did that show for 4 years. It was a great time, I remember. As I said, I was always in circles where everything was about music. I also worked at a venue in town for about 5 years. The venue was visited by many great bands there in the late 80s. Bands like Motorhead, King Diamond, Cannibal Corpse, Paradise Lost, Psychotic Waltz, Suffocation, and a lot of the death and thrash bands that came up at that time and are still here today stopped by and played. And just 7 years ago, I tried my luck and opened my own vinyl store in town. It didn't work out. People didn't spend enough money, and I therefore closed it after about 1.5 years. While my friends became musicians and had a great time, my own life started to take a wrong turn already in the late 80s. I smoked a lot of hash and took a lot of illegal things, and in the 90s I was completely lost. I was in and out of prisons. The only thing I could do was do a lot of shit, so I slipped out of the music scene. However, I got my life back on track in 2001, and since then I have stayed on the mat. I have also managed to re-establish contact with many people from back then. Wow, that was a long answer to a simple question.
But you found Suno.
Yeah, I did, and thank God. That's cool. I spend countless hours with Suno. I have a hard time putting it down, and I'm constantly coming up with new ideas.
You say you have 20 personas on Suno. Why so many?
I just think it's because I love so many kinds of music. I move in a lot of different genres, and a lot of my music is based on my feelings. One day I feel like doing something brutal with death, violence and blood. The next day I might be a little more melancholic, or feel that my partner is shit and therefore write based on that. I'm not a person who has complete control of my feelings and can sometimes feel a little sorry for myself, I think, while other times I think I have complete control of things. These fluctuations are very often expressed in my lyrics, so that's why I have many personas, both on Suno and maybe also in reality if I think about it.
Which bands inspire you?
Well, I don't really know. I mean, I wish I could make something that was as cool as Celtic Frost or Triptykon, since I'm blown away by Tom Warrior and have been since the 80s. But forget it, that's never going to happen. But Slayer, Merciful Fate, Creator, The Cure, Judas Priest, Motorhead are bands that have always been really cool. I don't think about it too much when I'm making songs on Suno. I just want to make something that I think sounds cool. Then I'm satisfied.
How would you describe your sound or style to someone hearing you for the first time?
I have so many personas that all sound different. But with some of them, like Dark Surfing, I take a lot of chances and like to do the opposite of what you expect in the songs. I like that if it's done in a cool way. You can also make it sound like hell.
Which AI tools or platforms do you currently use? And what do you love? Or struggle with?
I use Suno exclusively. I tried Udi a long time ago, but thought it sounded like a robot or a computer game, so I'm sticking with Suno. Suno also has some things that can be a hassle. For example, when you work in your personas, it can be difficult to get Suno to understand that the songs should not all start the same way. Regardless of whether you omit the intro, or write a different BPM, or write different instruments in the meta tags, Suno will always start the song the same way as the song you used to create the persona. That's the thing that annoys me the most about Suno.
Are there any recurring themes, messages, or moods that define your music?
Not really. As I said, I change a lot and write based on what I feel comes to me. Everyday things: love, hate, death, loneliness, violence, war, relationships, murder. Yes, it can be anything. Sometimes my brain is really fucked up and Suno refuses to do the lyrics that I give it, which is maybe a very good thing sometimes.
Have you faced any misconceptions or resistance from others about AI music? How do you respond?
I think I've only gotten the comment AI slop on YouTube 2 or 3 times. Virtually no one in my circle knows that I make music. And the musician friends I have, I've deleted on Facebook because I don't want any confrontation about it. I simply don't want to sit around defending the fact that I found a hobby that I really enjoy. I know that these friends won't pat me on the back and say, "Shut up, that sounds cool what you're doing." So it was easier to just delete them. I've only saved one, which I think will be pretty okay with it. I didn't become a musician, which annoys me, but now I've got the opportunity to create some music in a completely different way, and I want to be allowed to do that without having to defend it.
What's next for your project? Any upcoming songs, visuals, or collaborations we should watch for?
It'll definitely be either some thrash or death metal. I've been playing with it for the last few days. I've put my thrash death band Fluka on hold for a bit as I suddenly had trouble finding their direction. Maybe there'll be more from them again at some point. Maybe. But as I said, I'm working on something new, but I'm struggling with it right now. I can't quite make it sound like something that makes me say, wow, that's fucking fantastic. So it might take a while before it's there.
What advice would you give someone who's curious about making music with AI, but doesn't know where to start?
Go for it. But don't think that others are as excited about your music as you are. Hearing your own words to music is fantastic, but remember that others don't really care. Do it for yourself and be pleasantly surprised if others come and tell you that what you're doing sounds great. Jump into it and make an effort. Many people think wow every time they click generate and hear the result, but don't release the song before you've listened to it over several days. Maybe your own enthusiasm will wane after 10 listens. If it does, it will definitely do so for others who listen to it.
Finally, you said you have 20 personas. How do you keep track of them? I mean, do they all have their own channels on YouTube or what?
No, not really. I have a channel where they are all gathered. Each persona has their own artist name. My channel is called AIMuseDK, and each artist has their own playlist there. So it's quite easy to find your way around.
Thank you so much, Flemming, for appearing on the Digital Forge. Check out Flemming's channel, which is linked in the description below. Also, check out Metalhead's AI Facebook group for way more metal projects. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all the developments in the AI metal sphere. I am Freja, your AI metalhead. Be safe out there and don't let anyone dim your light. Until next time, stay metal.